Hey everyone, Matt here on another edition of Ask Ron. Ron, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Beautiful day outside.
It is, it feels great. Beautiful weather.
No snow anywhere I can see.
All you got is sunshine. All right, we have 7 questions today, and the first 4 are going to be from Justin, who is in Florida.
Okay.
Justin's first question is, Ron, you recently mentioned not needing to get the land trust notarized. Why is that? And is there ever a situation such as a subject to deal that you'd want to get the land trust notarized? And does this mean you also not getting the assignment of beneficial interest notarized?
All right. Land trust consists of 2 pieces. There's the deed to the trust, and then there's a trust agreement. The deed to the trust must be notarized because it's got to be recorded. However, I don't want you getting that signed. That's what your attorney gets signed, and they will notarize it and record it internally. Unless you are putting your property into a trust yourself, then you will have to get it notarized and then go record it. The trust agreement does not have to be notarized because it is going in your filing cabinet. It's not going to be recorded. But as I've said many times, it doesn't hurt if you get it notarized, but it's not required to be so. That's the trust agreement. So did that answer the question?
Yes, he also said, does this mean you are not getting the assignment of beneficial interest notarized?
No, because that does not be recorded down at the courthouse either.
Nice. All right. Moving on to the next question from Justin. He says, regarding title insurance, you said you stopped buying it on many of your deals. Is there a certain type of subject to transaction where you would purchase title insurance?
I might, if I feel like that there might be some problems with the title later, but that would be very rare. I don't buy title insurance on any terms deal because I don't have anything to lose. At very least, a small down payment and closing costs. However, don't forget the part about where I never, ever buy a property of any kind without getting the title checked, okay? But that's not title insurance. That's maybe $100 or so instead of hundreds of dollars for title insurance. Always get the title checked, okay? But I only buy insurance when I'm at risk, like I'm paying cash.
All right. Justin's next question is, what happens if you run a title search and it looks clean, so you don't get the title insurance, but then something comes up down the road, like someone tries to claim ownership, such as a spouse of a past seller or something like this? How would you handle it?
That's a risk you're going to take. If you're not willing to take that risk, buy the title insurance. However, I'm going to tell you right now, if you buy title insurance and there's nothing on the title that the title company can find to not issue that policy, they're very likely not going to pay you for anything that happens later. They're just ensuring that there's nothing on there that would screw up your title. They're not ensuring nobody's going to sue you later for whatever. So frankly, it's an issue you're making up because it ain't never going to happen anyway. So, but if it does, and you don't buy title insurance, it's a risk you take.
That's right.
But again, I'm telling you, even if you buy title insurance, they're not going to pay the claim. In that case, they're only responsible for the time up to the time you bought the property.
All right. And then Justin's last question is, when you do a wrap, since the note is recorded, what happens if the bank sees that recording? Could this ever cause an issue? And if so, how would you handle it?
Justin, you need to get to Quick Start Real Estate School. Okay, you're bringing all these things up that you don't even need to worry about. But the answer to your question is the bank can call any loan due that a seller transfers with their loan on it. No matter how they transfer it, unless they pay cash and pay off the loan. But they don't. And the last thing a bank wants is a house. So we ain't worried about the due on sale clause. And if they did call it due, I'll come to class and I'll teach you how to stop them cold anyway, but I'm not doing it here.
All right, there you go, Justin.
I suggest you get out there and generate some leads and make some closing calls and get something under contract. Worry about all this stuff and ain't going to go bad anyway.
That's right.
In fact, when you're in this thing for about a year and you're active, you're going to look back a year later and laugh at all the things you're thinking now.
All right, that was it from Justin. Now we're moving on to our next question.
Thank you, Justin, for submitting the questions. I'm just picking on you, man.
Our next question is from Perzina, who is in Georgia.
Mhm.
Perzina says, "Hello, Ron. I've got a property info sent to me by a real estate company. I may have signed up with them from another program. Is it okay to work with them? And if so, how should I do so?"
I don't know what she's talking about. Do you?
I believe she's working with another real estate company and she wants to know, is it okay to work with them? And if it is okay, how should she go about it?
I have no idea how to answer that question. Okay. Working with a real estate company, does that mean there's a real estate agent involved or another real estate trainer involved? You got to get clearer on that question than that. And then, should I work with them? How on earth would I know the answer to that question? I don't even know who you're working with. So I really don't understand the gist of your question. You might want to rephrase it and send it back.
Yeah, maybe vet the real estate company or agent that you're working with and then give us some more details.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next question. This one's from Isabelle, who is out in Texas.
Isabelle.
Isabelle says, "Is there a video showing an actual closing with the real estate attorney or title company and the seller and the investor / buyer? I'd love to see how that happens, or a video / script."
All right. Well, there is no video because there is no such closing anymore. It's all done virtually. All right. Your attorney completes the documentation to send to the seller and to the buyer. And of course, if you're the one buying, you better darn sure, or selling, you better approve the docs before he sends them to the other side, because you usually have to fix something. And it's all done virtually. Nobody meets in a room and stares across the table at each other anymore. That's long gone. So the attorney takes care of all of it. And they probably will they'll give instructions to the seller to get the deed wet signed, they call it, which means the attorney wants the deed actually signed and not done virtually. Some do, some don't. But it's not even anything for you to worry about. All you've got to do is get the purchase and sale agreement filled out and completed. The attorney takes it from there and does all the documentation. It's not your job. It's their job. And that's why you have an attorney.
All right. There you go, Isabelle. Moving on to the next question, we have Brian from Colorado. Brian says, "I am working with a private lender that I've never worked with before, and I'm not sure how to vet them as a lender to make sure that he's legitimate. I did ask for a referral from the person that referred me to him, and I was told that he is a legitimate lender.
Okay.
What would your suggestions be to properly vet a new lender?"
Is this a Brian or a Ryan?
Brian.
BR.
Yeah.
Brian, you don't need to vet the new lender. The lender should be vetting you because they're the one putting up the money. The only way you're going to vet them is if the money appears at your closing attorney's escrow account, and then you'll know you got a private lender, which is why you don't want to set up a closing with the seller or the buyer, whichever, until the money is in the attorney's escrow account. I learned that the hard way. When the money is in the account, you can set up the closing the next day or the day after on your first deal. When you keep on borrowing after that, you won't need to worry about it. You know, you got a real lender. But it is a valid question because it does happen. You don't have a lender until the money's in your escrow account, no matter what they tell you.
That's right.
But you better be careful. Go starting to vet him, and he's going to tell you to go take a hike. He's the one with the money. He ain't the one that gets vetted. The one that's borrowing is the one that gets vetted.
All right, I think we're at our last question here, Ron, and this one's from Enrique in Colorado.
Is that big long one?
This is the book, yep.
Enrique, I'm not going to read a book to try to dictate. If you want to ask me a question, you send me a question that's no more than a paragraph long, and I'll try it. But you have probably won the prize for the longest question in the history of the Go Club. This thing is literally, I bet if it was in a book, it would probably be 1.5 pages long.
At least.
That's not a question. Okay. So we're converted to questions. Happy to answer them.
All right,
is that it?
I think that's all she wrote for today.
All right. Well, I'll see you guys next week. Getting close to Christmas. You better get out there and start making some money. Next year's coming quick.